Deflategate. What's worse for the Patriots? Losing Brady for 4 games, and it might be even less than that if his appeal is heard and they overturn the 4-game suspension, or the Patriots losing a first-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and $1 million in fines. What's worse ultimately for the New England Patriots?
Well, Kraft, that's walking around money. That's not a big deal. Number 2, the 4th-round draft choice, they're not worth much. First-round draft choice, you can trade to get a first-round draft choice. So
plus, they win every year, so their first-round pick is at the back end of the first round.
Sure, every year, because they're a playoff team. Even this year, they're going to be a playoff team. They'll get past it. They started 0-2 last year. So are any of them, which one is more meaningful? None of them, because they started 0-2 last year. They are probably going to lose. They were probably going to lose one of these games, the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. They might have lost the Pittsburgh game with Tom Brady. Yeah. So we think, you and I have talked about it, that they'll go 2-2, maybe 1-3. Well, 1-3 is like 0-2. They can recover. Teams have gotten back. So I don't think the penalties are mind-boggling where you just have to say, oh, wow, look what happened to them.
No, but you know how teams value their draft picks, especially first-rounders.
No, he doesn't. I mean, there's one guy running that operation, Belichick, and he looked at it and went, oh, okay, I can go sign a guy that was a tight end that didn't play in the league, and I can plug him in. Fred Davis. That's what he did. Remember that guy from Cincinnati, that running back that was almost run out of the league?
Dillon?
Corey Dillon had the most yardage ever in history against the Denver Broncos. I was at that game. I was stunned. I mean, it was like 320 yards or something like that. Yeah. Corey Dillon was considered a bad guy. He went to the Patriots and filled in nicely for 2 years.
No, Randy Moss.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't think any of that's a problem. And I think Belichick is smart enough. Let's give him credit. He is one of the greatest coaches that's ever been in the league, and maybe might pass Vince Lombardi at some point as being the most successful. I mean, you'd have to put him in the top 3 or 4 right now. Well, he'll figure out a way to win 2 or 3 of those games. So I don't consider the penalty too harsh if you take it within the realm of how that's going to affect them.
I would agree with every one of your points because, first of all, I don't think the 4-game suspension is going to stick anyway. I think it's probably going to be whittled down to 2. And you brought up the point that has been brought up by a lot of people. How many times have the Patriots started 2-2?
Last year.
And have won Super Bowls?
Last year.
3 of their 4 Super Bowls have started with 2-2 records. Does the draft pick hurt? I think the draft pick, you could always use a first-round draft pick. I don't think anybody would argue that.
Who was their first-round draft pick last year? Not this year. Last year.
Oh, I have no idea. Who was it?
He wasn't that big a factor.
Somebody look up the Patriots' first-round draft pick.
Their first-round pick this year is Malcolm Brown, that people
up,
considered a top 15 pick. Yeah. Is he going to be a factor? Probably, but is he going to be Von Miller-ish? No, I don't think so.
I think in a recent draft they took that linebacker
from Tennessee.
Alabama.
I thought it was Tennessee.
Was it Tennessee? Because a lot of people wanted the Broncos to get him,
and he didn't really. He's been hurt a lot. He's been a nice player, but
I want to ask you guys this. Because, and I don't know if you've talked about it on the show yet, so if you have, just say we've already, addressed this subject. Roger Goodell said about Sean Payton, ignorance is not an excuse. So why is he holding Belichick to a different standard than Sean Payton?
Well, I think
how come nothing happened?
Well, I think that's part of the process. They have absolved the rest of. Right or wrong, they've absolved the rest of the Patriots' ownership and players and everything else. And Belichick wasn't mentioned, but they've actually put a thumb on Belichick because they've said, we're taking from you because he's the general manager in effect. I don't even think they have a name. They don't have a general manager's name. They have an assistant who runs all the, so I think that was what they did to Bill Belichick. I think they believed him, that he didn't know anything about it. I don't know that they believed Sean Payton, that a head coach wouldn't know. I mean, a head coach really doesn't know about deflated balls, but a head coach probably knows enough that there is a headhunting going on in your organization.
Dominic Easley, defensive lineman, their first-round pick last year.
I rest my
We couldn't
case.
even name him.
Yeah.
Hey, that NFL update was sponsored by the Fantasy Sports Combine. This is such a cool thing. The Fantasy Sports Combine is the ultimate experience for serious fantasy sports players. It's coming this summer to Wynn Las Vegas. Yes, the Wynn in Las Vegas, July 17th to the 19th. What they're going to do is they're going to hold a camp for you. If you like to play fantasy football, they're going to hold a camp for you and tell you how to play it best and who to draft. And listen to some of the guys who are going to tell you how to do this. Adam Schefter of ESPN, Matthew Berry, the fantasy expert from ESPN, the wide receiver Brandon Marshall, yeah, that'd be Marsh, Mike Shanahan, the coach Mike Ditka, and many more are going to be there to help you get an edge in your fantasy league. So get your tickets today. Go to FantasySportsCombine.com, FantasySportsCombine.com.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, and I love what they're doing. I think it's an incredible idea.
I want to go. We need to go.
And
just for
the
hell
fact
of it,
that they didn't have it in Des Moines, Iowa, that they chose a place like Las Vegas, that makes it even better.
I understand with FanDuel and what you were just talking about, DraftKings and all those places. You know, baseball has a big issue with gambling on sports. I don't know how the NFL feels, although they're getting in bed with all these places. But to have Brandon Marshall there, and I don't mean it could be any player. It could be any player. But why would you bring a current NFL player? Isn't that just a little too close?
No, because the NFL is endorsing fantasy sports now, so it's okay.
Yeah, the NBA.
You just don't want them at the sports book betting on a game.
NBA, the NBA and the NFL have, to use your words,
they're opening the doors.
They're in bed with the NFL. The reason why the NFL is what it is today. Would you watch a Jets Buffalo Bills game if there wasn't betting on it, or if you weren't playing fantasy sports? Fantasy sports, and which is betting. It is betting. Let's admit it. It's betting. It's a way to get around the laws.
Yeah.
And legal betting in Las Vegas, illegal betting with your friends in fantasy leagues and with your buddy. I mean, I have a friend that bets every game in the National Hockey League playoffs, $25, and he asked for my help. I'm surprised there are not more players because they love going to Las Vegas. I bet there will be more players involved, and I see nothing wrong with it. Just because you're in Las Vegas, I've gone to Las Vegas a bunch of times and not bet a penny. I've been there for heavyweight fights and never stepped in the gambling area.